He just took it away for a second. And my blood ran cold. I felt the room turn like into ice. And I realized at that moment what Colin had been offering me for a year was just this pure, fiery love.
Hi, I'm
Hi,
Jonathan Lundberg.
Jonathan.
Hi. So I'm writing for Movie Scene in Sweden, and it's an honor to be able to speak with you.
You as
I've
well.
well, thank you. So I've watched every episode
You
of this
did?
season. Yeah, of course, I couldn't stop watching
Wow.
it.
You got to watch the whole thing. God
Yeah,
bless you.
yeah.
So
And
you
now I
know,
have to wait for everyone else to
it's a big
catch up.
mouthful. Did you watch it in one sitting?
I wish I could have, but I had to
No,
do
that's
it
a lot.
into
That asks a lot.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, but it's a really good watch, and it's really violent, but it sure has its moments of more uh, drama and like a lot of feelings and stuff. And I feel like your character is on maybe that side of the story on in most of the season. So I was wondering how you kind of uh, came into this show and if you were allowed to read the entire thing or only your parts and how much did you know when you agreed to do this role?
I didn't get to read the whole thing. No one got to, I mean, maybe Colin got to read the whole thing, but no, I only read 3 episodes. So I had to decide whether I wanted to sign on based on those 3 episodes. And they were just beautifully written things. So I knew that I wanted to do it, but I didn't know the backstory and I didn't know what was going to happen
Yeah,
to us. So then, but Lauren sat down with me. We didn't know each other. Craig Zobel was the person that found me and sort of brought me into the fold. And
yeah,
God bless you, Craig Zobel. And so I sat down with Lauren for the first time, and she was like, "Okay, well, I'll tell you the story of what happens to Francis." And I just could not believe what she was saying. I felt like someone had just given me a huge, I don't know, like I'd won the lottery and I was going to have to pay taxes on this. I couldn't believe how much she was offering me in terms of this story part, that you, as you know, the story, the backstory of the
yeah,
boys and the backstory of how Oz, and because I understand, there's a lot of trope of the driven mother who pushes her son and they have a tough relationship, but the fact that there was a basis for all of her. Whenever she needs to push him away, whenever she has those waves of revulsion with him, that the deep basis of that. I didn't know that when I first signed in. And where the story goes and how that thing ties itself up and how it's all tied together in terms of them. And then that crazy ending where he dresses up Eve. I mean, so I didn't see it coming when I signed on. I was perfectly happy to play this really beautifully written, interesting mom of what Colin had created in Batman. That's all I knew.
yeah.
So it was an amazing day that I'll never forget when Lauren was just sitting across the desk from me telling me the story. And then this happens, and then that happens, and then she just told me this
Yeah,
mythic tale. I thought she was
exactly.
kidding at one
I
point. I
can
was like, really?
I really feel like I could only imagine it being like an actor's dream to kind of get to do something that really comes full circle within
Yeah.
this story. And I was you mentioned Colin, and I wanted to know a bit how it was working with him on the show. His character is kind of different in his interactions with you playing his mother. So you kind of get to meet a different version of him than most of the other actors get to meet. So how was your interactions with Colin?
I think I'd have to say we were the luckiest. It was the luckiest kismet I've ever experienced where we were just compatible animals. I never saw him not without being full on penguin. So
Yeah,
I think I met him one time. And in that meeting, he was kind of like, I'll let you lead. And I was kind of, well, that's a perfectly nice thing to say, but we don't know each other at all. We never had rehearsal. We never sat down and talked. We just showed up, and we were just blessed that there was some kind of lightning struck, and we just were so compatible and so on the same page. And I felt like the thing we were having to do was so extreme, but I trusted him completely to keep us like out of the realm of melodrama. There was just a way that I knew that he would take care of that. I would take care of him. It doesn't happen all the time. You can shoot around it not happening, but when it happens, you just have to, accept the blessing. And I feel like that's what happened with he and I. He offered me so much power in that relationship, and I didn't need, and so much love. He was just pouring love at me with such ferocity. I didn't even really realize how much he was giving me until the very end, the day when we shot the very last thing in the show, and he took it away. He just took it away for a second, and my blood ran cold. I felt the room turn like into ice. And I realized at that moment what Colin had been offering me for a year was just this pure, fiery love. Just his regard was so constant. And
Yeah.
I don't know. I was just the luckiest lady in the world. I mean, we worked, I think we both worked very hard. Like it was kind of like boxing or playing tennis. We both worked very hard in our corners, and then we would just come in. We would work hard in our corners and come in, and we had to work hard because we had this dialect that was so specific, and we had to work very technically on that. We had to work very hard on. I had this disease. I had to work very hard on that, on finding the exact world that lived, and being with a woman who was a physical therapist for people with Parkinson's and things like that
Yeah.
to get. So we were both in our corners doing our homework, but when we came in, we were just there with each other.
Yeah. I loved it. I
We were
loved it.
lucky. We were just so lucky. So we've never spoken of it. And it was just one of those things that you're just like, oh, don't touch it. Don't touch it. You're so lucky you had that.
Yeah. So I'm so glad I got to speak with you, and also a big the Path fan. So
Oh,
thanks a lot.
yes. I loved doing that.
Yeah.
That was a
Best of
wonderful
luck with
group of people.
yeah. Best of luck with the premiere now.
Thank
Bye.
you very much.